Hi everyone, it's Grant. I'm back once again with another YouTube video. Just want to wish all of you a happy Sunday, and I hope y'all all are having a great weekend. So today's video is going to be a book review. And the book I will be reviewing is The Poppy War, book one of the Poppy War trilogy. I finished reading it the other day, and it was pretty good. But before I get into my thoughts on it, I'll give you a little background. So the author is R.F. Kuang, Rebecca Kuang. I think she's Chinese, pretty certain actually. And I used the audiobook on Audible. And the narrator was Emily Wu Zeller. She did a fantastic job. 2 thumbs up for her. And to give you a little summary, I'll try to make it spoiler free. I'll try not to get into it. So our main story takes place in Ninkan, which is basically, it's fictional China. And our main character is Rin, who's from the poor village of Takani. And the book jumps in right away where she is forced to do something crazy. And I'm trying to figure out how to explain this without going into too much detail. But something happens off the rip to immediately pull your attention. And later on in the story, she ends up getting accepted into military school, and she's immediately faced with bullying, and people are looking at her funny because of her skin color, and they're making fun of her because of her accent. And it's a pretty sad story. And it only gets worse. Much, much, much darker. This is easily... I've read a lot of books in my life. This is probably the darkest book I've ever read. It goes into the atrocities of war, drug use, and I was listening to the audiobook, and when I was approaching the end, I was thinking, there's very few moments in this story that feel happy. Oh, this is a win for the main character. I've read stories like The Wheel of Time, Dune, Red Rising, and at some point, all these characters, they get their little victories. In this story, I don't feel that way with the main character at all. There is no little moral victories or yes, we're taking a step in the right direction. It's very dark. It's very sad. But I still recommend you read it. Another thing I love about this story is, I probably should mention this first. It's a historical fiction. Like I said, the country Ninkan represents China. And there's another country called the Federation of Mugen. They represent Japan. And this story, I believe it's supposed to cover 20th century China and 19th century China, because it deals with the Opium Wars, which occurred during the 1800s. But it also, according to Google, is based on the Second Sino-Japanese War, which occurred from 1937 to 1945. So I think it's combining history and just becoming its own thing, being a fantastical China. And when I was reading it, it did feel like I was in China, and it was great. I liked it a lot. There is a power system in this story. I'll try not to... I won't dive into it, but it's pretty cool. And it's not super unique. I wouldn't say that. I've definitely seen something similar, or it's not an unheard of concept. I guess that's the right word. As for our main character, Rin, I would say she is really cool and unique. She's very different than a lot of the other characters I've read. So, she, from chapter 1, page 1, she is very driven and determined, and she makes shocking decisions, to say the least. And some of them are very disagreeable. Like, I do not co-sign, I do not endorse. And I found that very surprising because I feel like in most series, the main character is always doing the right thing right off the bat, or they're making always the correct choice, the choice that I agree with. Whereas Rin, I think she's a teenager in this story. She is immediately making decisions that I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. And I haven't really seen that. Like, you see it in the later part of the series where the main character goes through like their own villain arc or whatnot. But yeah, Rin is, I wouldn't even call her morally gray. Like, she's just crazy. Another thing I liked about this story, I really enjoyed seeing things from like a soldier's perspective. In a lot of stories I read, we are primarily seeing things from like a commander's perspective, or like a super soldier, someone that like has a lot of sway in the decision making when it comes to like war and whatnot. In this story, it's very much told from like a grunt perspective, and I feel like I don't see that a lot, and it was a cool change. But like I said, it goes really deep. It goes really in depth into the atrocities of war, like very descriptive, very, very dark. And at one point, there was a couple scenes where I think my jaw hit the floor because it was just so messed up what the narrator was describing. As for like, I'll go in a couple negatives. I wouldn't call them negatives. I guess cons, maybe critiques. That's a better word. After finishing this book, I didn't have a ton of questions. For example, like, there wasn't a ton of mystery, or like, ooh, I wonder what's going to happen with this character, or where's this going to lead. I think I only had like one or two questions, and that was it. And it seems like after finishing the book, there's a pretty clear roadmap for where we're heading in the story. Who knows? Maybe I'll get disproven, but it's only like 3 books, so like I'm already a third of the way through the story, and I feel like I know how it's gonna end, or maybe I don't, but we'll see. It's not a bad thing. It's just I don't like the idea of being able to predict something this early on. But then again, it's a short series, so we'll see. Another critique I have is I would like to see other perspectives in the next 2 books. In this story, we were following Rin's perspective 95% of the time. And the other 5% was really good, and I'm sure it was deliberate, but I would like to maybe see things from other characters' perspectives. That's just a preference. It's not really a bad thing. Last thing I would say is I'm hoping book 2, The Dragon Republic, dives further into the power system. Like, we got a glimpse into what the powers do, but I would like to pull a curtain back a little bit, and I'm expecting it to happen because it's like I'm entering the second book of a 3-book series. So I'm pretty excited. Although I hope it gets happier. um, I did like the the reference to the opium, because in the name of the book is the Poppy War. Poppy is another word for opium, and it's like a callback to China's destructive history with the opium drugs that I believe Great Britain, like, they snuck into the country, and those drugs ran rampant, and it was pretty cool. I mean, drug use isn't cool, but it was cool seeing a country shackled by this one particular drug, and you see how it affects their relationship with other countries. And yeah, it was pretty cool. That's really it. I would recommend reading this to everybody. It's about, if you're doing a book, it's 544 pages, 136,000 words. That's nothing too crazy. It's a little long, maybe a month or two. I mean, I read slow, so. The audio length was 19 hours and 27 minutes, so that's not very long at all. Excuse me. About a couple months, 1 month if you're really just speeding through it. But yeah, I'm excited for the second book, the Dragon Republic. And if I had to put a rating, because this is a book review, I would give it like an 8, where it was very good. It was extremely dark. And my only thing I don't like, but it's more of a preference, is we're following one person's perspective from beginning to end. Where in other stories, I kind of like following everybody's perspective. So we'll see. Maybe I'm comparing it too much to some of the other books I've read, that it's like they are so entertaining from beginning to end, and this is just pure darkness. This is war in its purest form. And maybe I don't love that as much as the plotting and the scheming, or like super Dragon Ball Z type fights. Everyone's just throwing hands. This is like different. But I highly recommend everyone read it. Yeah. That's about it. Hoping you guys give it a chance. Let me pull this up in case you've forgotten. It is The Poppy War. Oh, what the hell? Yeah, it is The Poppy War by Rebecca Kwong, book 1 of the Poppy War series. Give it a chance. Let me know what you think. Yeah, other than that, have a good one. Bye.